And Adam Frank. He's a professor of astrophysics at the University of Rochester in New York. He's also the author of The Little Book of Aliens, available this fall. Thank you for being here, Professor. So we've got this hearing on Wednesday. What questions do you want lawmakers to ask these three whistleblowers?
Well, I think, the thing that like both sides of the party or both sides of the aisle can get together on. I think it's great that there's transparency, that people, are willing to talk about this in a way that they weren't willing to talk in the past. But the reality is, I don't think we're going to get further than we were before, because there's this long history with, people saying they've seen something, or that, within the military, and then it never really goes anywhere. I think the real excitement here is actually the excitement about what's happening in astronomy, which is what we're able to see with our telescopes of alien worlds. And I think that is what's changing people's attitudes in a lot of ways. Because really, unfortunately, the data, there's really nothing in this data that is real, that we have about UFOs, connecting it to aliens, that is anything different than we've really seen before. It's still lots of fuzzy blobs. And a lot of times when you analyze it, like some of those Navy data, you find out that the thing that you thought was traveling so fast was going at 40 miles an hour. So I think it's great that there's transparency, but it really shows that people are interested now in the possibility of life in the universe beyond the Earth. I just don't think we're going to find much about it being on Earth.
Okay, well, you piqued my interest talking about alien worlds seen through telescope. What is some of that data and research showing? What have you seen?
Well, what people have to understand is we're about to go through this incredible explosion now in the scientific search for life outside of the universe, where we now, 20, 30 years ago, we didn't know whether there were any other planets orbiting any other stars other than the ones that we have around the sun. Now we know that every star you see in the sky when you go out at night has planets, worlds that, where surfaces where things are happening. And we know that if you count up 5 of them, one of them is in the right place for life to form. And so with things like the James Webb Space Telescope, for the first time ever, we're actually able to see into the atmospheres of those planets. And over the next 10, 20, 30 years, we're going to have data that is going to actually give us information about the possibilities of life, like even dumb life, like microbes or biospheres, or intelligent civilizations. And that is coming now. And it is a profound revolution in science, which we're all going to be part of.
How close are we to some of that information? Are we talking years, couple years?
I think, science is a long game. If you want to discover something extraordinary, right, like are we alone, which is one of the oldest questions humanity's ever asked, you got to play the long game. And we're talking here, years, decades. We're putting telescopes in orbit now or building them. It's 10, 20, 30 years to really get that data. And that may seem like a long time, but remember, people have been arguing about this for 2,000 to 3,000 years. And we may be the last generation that doesn't know whether or not we're alone or not. But it's not going to be probably with UFOs, because so far there's no data that they have anything to do with life beyond Earth. But it's going to be data from alien worlds, and that's coming.
Wow, interesting. The other component of this hearing on Wednesday will likely be flight safety. How would you respond to concerns from pilots that whatever it is, whether it's traveling at a light speed or 40 miles an hour, is a concern for pilots in the sky?
That's a real concern. And I think, one of the things we've seen is how much with drone activity, right? With spies. I mean, I think in the end, this is going to be something that is of interest for the signals intelligence people, the people who are interested in what we call peer state adversaries. So I think it's great that pilots now they're able to talk about this without any kind of say that they've seen something without having to hide it or feel like they're going to be made fun of, because it's quite possible that there's stuff in the sky from our adversaries that really poses a danger both to military aircraft and in some cases to civilian aircraft. So it's great that we have transparency and we do the science to figure out what these things are.
Would it satisfy the appetite if they provided, in terms of transparency, just more images, a more definitive response to some of the things they have without posing a national security threat? Are there things that the Pentagon could release, even if it is in classified information, to lawmakers that would help eliminate some of the frustration that they have things they're not willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, even in those Navy videos that you saw, one of the amazing things was at first people were like, oh my God, these things are traveling, they're too fast to ever be human. And then when you did the analysis of them, at least for one of them, you could see like, no, it was actually traveling at wind speed. So I think, releasing full suites of data where you can have both, clear images. Remember that image of the Chinese spy balloon?
Okay.
It was so clear, and it was done with a cell phone, right? Give us clear images so we can see what these things are. Give us data that we can understand how they're moving. And that will really help us understand, not only what its origin is, but since they're probably of earthly origin, of, really maybe where these things are coming from and what tactics are being used.
And David Grush, the whistleblower who will testify Wednesday, says he doesn't believe they are of earthly origin. So we'll see. It's fascinating. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.